Hey everyone, I'm Alison with Better Half Reviews, and today I'm going to talk to you about Manatee Sanctuary. This is a crowdfunding game coming from Warped Reality Games, designed by Gray Baker, and the art is by Andrew Bosley. This is a 2 to 6 player game that takes about 30 minutes to play. In Manatee Sanctuary, you actually are doing exactly what the title says. You're going to create a sanctuary for the manatees to come visit. Everyone will get one of their own player boards to keep track of how many flowers they have completed, and also to keep track of how much food they have available for the manatees in their sanctuary. It also provides a quick player aid for stats about the different types of manatees, what they need for feeding or for space in their sanctuary, and also the other icons that show up on your cards. As mentioned before, this does have an I cut you choose mechanism in it. So you're going to take your starting hand of 5 cards and divide them into 2 different piles, whether that's 2 and 3 or 1 and 4. And you're going to pass them over to the player either on your left or right, depending on the round. When you get the cards handed to you, you're going to take the 2 piles and you're going to look at them and try to decide, okay, which pile am I going to keep? It's not necessarily having more cards is the better thing. It depends on what you're going for in the round. So like these ones have some different icons showing up, and these ones have a lot of manatees. Maybe I want to be able to get some more feeding options, so I'll take these cards. So the cards that you end up choosing to keep will go below your player board. And the cards that you're like, I don't want to take them, I'll give them back, will go above. So you'll give these back, and then you'll give back whatever cards that the other player chose to not take as well. So depending on how many cards you kept originally and how many were passed to you, the amount of cards in your hand could vary from round to round. So how do these cards work? You have 2 different options with them. You can use the lower half to help create your sanctuary, or you can use the upper half to do different actions like gaining manatees or possibly gaining more food. Everyone will get one of these starting tiles, which will be the starting place to build your sanctuary somewhere in front of your player area. And you'll notice that there's different colored flowers on these, so there's green, purple, and red. And on your cards, you have the similar matching flowers. And what you'll do is you'll place down cards to make flowers match. If you make a flower match, you'll move it up on your player board saying, hey, I've got one flower match. And that can help with your food production when you take the food production action, which I'll talk about later. So you have to be able to tuck the card under to make the flowers match. So if it doesn't match, you can't place it there. As you're building your sanctuary out, you have to make sure you're matching flowers on multiple sides. So let's talk about the upper half of the cards. If you're going to use a card that has a manatee with a question mark, that just means that you're going to draw a random manatee out of the bag and then put it in your little player area until you're ready to put manatees in your sanctuary. If it has a specific color on it, like yellow or pink, you will go and look in the bag and grab that color. And this symbol right here with the hand and the flowers means you can collect 1 piece of food per completed flower in your sanctuary. And since this one has it 2 times, you'll be able to gain your food twice. So if you have 3 completed flowers in your sanctuary and you play this card, you'll be able to get 6 food. And anytime your card has one of these little caution symbols in it, that means that the number of yellow manatees you have in your sanctuary currently is how many random manatees you're going to have to draw from the bag. So that's something to keep in mind, because you want to be able to have enough food for the manatees who want to occupy your sanctuary. And you also want to have enough space for all the manatees that you're acquiring. Good balance. Now when you're done using cards either to build up your sanctuary or to do actions, that's when you're going to place out your manatees onto your sanctuary. These numbers let you know how big of a space it is for the manatees. So gray manatees only need 1 space. So this has 2, so I could put 2 gray manatees there and I'd be fine. That space is now full. Yellow manatees, on the other hand, are a little bit more playful. They like to move around more, and so they take up extra space. So this needs 2 space to be on. So this is half filled. So if I have 2 manatees there, that space is now completely full. Can't put any more manatees there. And the pink manatees also just take up 1 space, so I could put it there. Once everybody's done playing cards, get it using their actions, then you're going to do the end of the round phase, and you're going to feed all your manatees. Gray and yellow manatees only need 1 food apiece. The pink manatees need 2. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 foods that I need to use in order to feed my manatees. I only have 4, so I would spend all my food and I could feed 1, 2, 3, 4 of these guys. I would not have enough food for this guy, so he would leave my sanctuary. For every manatee you can't feed, you will lose 2 points. And depending on the round, the different color manatees are worth different points. So right now, the gray and the yellow are worth 3 points in the first round. So I would get 3 points for each of these. So once you're finished scoring up, you're going to change to a new round, get new cards, but you're going to flip over the token, which is also the round marker, and that changes the direction of the draft for your I Cut You Choose part. Alright, so let's talk about some of the pros and cons. So for me, a pro would be having Andrew Bosley artwork. I mean, it helps make games look great. I also like that the theme is a little bit more unique. Like, you don't see too many Manatee games out there, so that's kind of nice. So you have little Manatee meeples, which is cool. And along with those lines, having kind of a little bit more of a unique mechanism with the I Cut You Choose. Like, yes, I know there are games that have that, but like I personally haven't played too many that have an I Cut You Choose. So that was kind of nice having like, oh, okay, but I don't want to give these cards to them because I know they've got these type of manatees and these cards would be good for them. So maybe I'll give these. But I don't know, in the I Cut You Choose, it's like, well, either way, you're going to be getting some good stuff for yourself and potentially giving good things to others. So I don't know, it's kind of a unique aspect of trying to like balance what you're giving to people and what you're keeping for yourself. So I did enjoy that. Another pro is this game is pretty quick to learn. There's only a handful of icons that you need to know, and even though the cards have multiple use to them, it's really like straightforward choices. Do you want actions? And like, do you want to place meeples and get food, or do you want to build up your sanctuary? Go from there. And no matter what you're doing, you're most likely going to be earning points as long as you're balancing out how big your sanctuary is versus how many manatee meeples that you have. So do I have any cons to the game? It's kind of harder to do that when there's a prototype. I know there's a few things that they're adjusting, like size and color wise, so I'm not going to talk about any of that. One thing that I would say, like, it's harder for me to remember, like, the difference between like the pink, yellow, and gray. It's like, okay, well, he eats one and takes up one space. He eats one but takes up two space, and he eats two but takes up one space. That was probably like the biggest hitch that I had with myself and other people that play the game, where it's like, wait, what does the pink one do? It takes up more space, but no, it takes up more food. So that was probably the hardest rule to remember, is like, wait, it eats this many but takes up this much space. Like, honestly, that was the hardest part of the game. And that's just kind of a quick rules check of like, wait, remind me again. And also you can just look on your player board. Not a big deal, but like that was one thing that's like, oh yeah, we kept forgetting. Let's double check. But maybe like a con to the game, I kind of felt like the game was over too fast. You do play it over 3 rounds, but I feel like I wanted it to go one more round, where it's like, okay, you're just getting things built out. I'm like, I want one more round. I mean, yes, I could probably house rule it and do that, but this is designed to be kind of like a quick game. I just think I wanted it to be just a little bit longer. But that could just be a personal preference. Now, it does say you can play 2 to 6. I will say that for me personally, at least, with 2 players, like, it's fine. It's good. But I would prefer to play it with 3 or more, because when you're doing the drafting, each round you're switching, okay, putting cards to the left, putting cards to the right. If you're just doing a 2-player game, it's just, we're both just giving each other cards. And it's the same person every time. So I would kind of like the variety of having multiple people, because maybe there's different strategies going on that you're trying to like balance between. Because it's like, if I'm just playing with one other person, I'm like, oh, they're going for all the pink manatees. I'm going to avoid giving them cards that will let them possibly get pink manatees. Or they already have a ton of food, so I won't let them have all the food cards. And it's just one person that I'm passing those to. But if I have multiple, it's like, oh, they're going for yellow manatees and they already have a lot of food. So, when I'm cutting and choosing cards, maybe I'll try to divide it so that they're not getting those. I don't know. So I would prefer this at 3 or more players. 2 players, still fine. Just would prefer 3 or more. So this game is good, it's quick, it's fast, it's light though. So if you are newer to games, like, this is a very good one to pick out, a good filler if you're going for like a light thing to do. But if you're a little bit more into the hobby, if you want just like a little bit more strategy or a little bit more oomph to it, I would use these advanced variants, because this gives you just like different objectives and different things to go for that can kind of I don't know, make it a little bit more gamey, more interesting. So like if I'm playing with family, friends, people who don't really play a lot of games, kids, I would play it the standard way. If I'm trying to play it with other board game enthusiasts, I'd probably add these in just to give it a little bit more interesting options. So overall, what are my thoughts? I think it's a good light game. It's quick to learn, quick to play. Um, Sometimes I feel like it might be a little bit too light for what I'm interested in, but if if it's like the middle of the week and I just want a quick game to play, yes, this would be a good one to pick. But again, I would want it at more than 2 players. Just I find it a little bit more enjoyable that way. Um, but yeah, overall, it's good. I think adding in these cards make it better for me. But yeah, so if you're interested in backing the game or checking it out a little bit more, I'll put the link for the Kickstarter in the description down below. Yeah, so I'm Allison with Better Half Reviews. Happy gaming! My name's Gray, and I put gray manatees in my game instead of black because my name's Gray. Who's texting me? Oh, it's Mandy. Hi, Mandy. Back my game. I need to go pick up my child, so I'm gonna stop recording now. Bye.